The best way to get better at programming is to practice. And in this example, we're going to override an existing method from a parent class to allow us to perform a different type of action. As always, this starting file is available for download using a link provided below in the description. We'll pause for a couple seconds so you can download it, then you can attempt it on your own, or you can follow along with us. All right, so let's get started. Here I have a sample program. Notice that we have a class called example7, and it has a static void main already inside of it. We create the class and there's no attributes or anything like that, but we call system.out.println example. What happens? Well, every class automatically extends the class called object. All right, so inside our main function, as you can see, we already have an object that's of type example07, which is what we have here. And we say system.out.println example. Well, how does that work? How can you print out an object? Every class that does not extend another class extends a class called object. Object has a built-in method called toString. And if you pass an object to println, it calls that toString method for us automatically. If we run this, you'll see it gives kind of a weird output. It gives the class name, and then some weird numbers. That's actually the memory address where this object is being stored. But any class that we have that extends a class can override a method, which means we can override the toString method. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to create a new class. When I override a method, it has to have the exact same return type and the exact same parameters. So it's going to be public, string, toString, and no parameters. This is the method that we want to override. And we can return anything that we want as long as it's a string. For simplicity's sake, just to show that this is working, I'm going to say return this is our toString method. Now when I go and run this static main function, notice that it says now this is our toString method. We've overridden that method. We've replaced what it originally did with our own. If I had an employee class, maybe my toString would be their name and their title. If I had a customer class, maybe it would be just the customer name. If I was talking about a business, I might have the business name and maybe I'd include their address, or maybe I would include the number of stars that customers had given it on a rating scale system. Whatever we want to put in there, we can. And so the toString method gives us a lot of flexibility by returning a string for our object, and it can be anything that we want. Most of the time, we will use the class level variables in order to make the toString unique to that object. But this was just a real simple example to show us how it's going to work by creating a different string for it to return. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If so, please consider giving it a like and consider subscribing to see other videos in this series on how to get better at programming in Java.